Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Kaylana, the Blessed Driver here, and today I'm going to talk briefly about the recent strike that the shoppers had with Instacart. And if you guys are just tuning in, excuse me, about a week ago, the shoppers with Instacart had gone on a strike and stuff. And so, of course, for those of you guys that know, there is a lot of discrepancies with how the shoppers are being treated and also with the pay. And there's so many other things that were going on with Instacart and the shoppers. And so basically they some of them teamed up to start a strike, which was on last Sunday, not this past Sunday, but the one before that one, which was I think on the 18th or 19th or 19th and 20th, something like that. So it was on a Saturday, it was on a Sunday and a Monday, right? Okay, so some shoppers decided not to participate for many reasons, and honestly, that was kind of their own personal preference, and that's okay. And so the strike was not a strike that was formed by a union or anything. It was just from another shopper that decided to bring other people aboard to go and start the strike. Now I had did a video, I did a vlog on this a couple weeks ago about it. Actually, not a couple weeks. It was, I want to say, a couple days before it happened. And so I kind of like agreed with it because, any type of injustice, I believe that people should stand up and stick up for themselves and say something. And honestly, to me, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay. However, I really didn't give it much thought because, some shoppers didn't participate because they have bills, they got to pay their rent, they have kids, I mean, they have tuition. Like, there's reasons why some people don't want to participate. And there's also some people didn't want to participate in the strike because they didn't want to get involved in any drama. They didn't want to risk they didn't want to risk them possibly losing, their jobs, getting deactivated, things like that. So, really it was optional. It wasn't something that people had to mandatorily do. But okay, so I didn't really give it a whole lot of thought, and even though I, I had allowed some people to post information about the strike in my group and stuff, but I thought about this. I want to say a couple of days after the strike, and lately I've been thinking more about this now. Now, what I've been thinking, okay, was the strike justified, and was the motive pure in the strike? Okay, so this really isn't something for me to be worried about or for me to lose sleep over because, it's really not that deep to me. Now, I haven't did the Instacart platform at the time of the recording of this video. I haven't done Instacart in about 3 weeks. And you guys have known that, for those of you guys that do know, I had injured my shoulder. And so I haven't really done anything as far as lifting heavy items. I went to the doctor. I ended up in the hospital. It was pretty severe. And so besides all of that, I've been doing other platforms and I've been doing all right and making ends meet. So, but the person who started this particular strike, and I'm not, please, before any of you guys get upset, before you guys get ready to take the link to this video and try to start a bunch of confusion and a whole bunch of drama and, instigation, don't do that. Just hear my heart when I say this, okay? And I'm not coming down to the person who started the strike. I'm not coming down on any of the individuals or any individuals that took part of it. It's just, there was a link that was posted in this particular person's group. And I believe that it was from the San Francisco Chronicle. Now, I usually don't pay much attention to what happens in other people's groups, unless I'm actually actively involved in doing things in it and stuff like that, because I'm actually in hundreds of groups on Facebook, okay? And so I clicked the link, and it was a good article about the shoppers going on strike. But then as I read the article, I noticed some things in there, and I'm like, why did they put that in there? And of course, people that are reporters or journalists, they want to give details about anything that they write about. So, and it's okay. But I'm kind of careful what I say on here. So it's like, I was reading it. I'm like, okay, why did they put that in there? And so as I read the whole entire article, I didn't say anything to anybody. And then I went back into the group of the individual that's over the group. I'm like, I agree with what she did. Like, I agree, like, about the strike. Like, I agree for the reasoning and wanting the strike. Okay. But there have been a lot of people in her group that have, it's been really crazy. Like, it's just been, Some people are even afraid to even go in there or to even post anything out of fear that they will get harassed or they will get, cussed out or mistreated or something like that. So I was thinking, okay, I understand why the strike was started and why she did it. But then as I read the article and watched what she posts and watched how she comments on other people's stuff, then it became clear to me as to the motive. Now there's a good motive, and then sometimes there's like an impure motive and like some stuff. And I think that sometimes, and I'm not saying this is the case, I'm just saying in general, I think that sometimes when people do things and they feel an injustice, initially, if the motive is right, they want to do good. They want to make change and they want to bring change. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think somewhere along the lines, when people want control or when they want attention or when they want to be recognized, they start to do things in order to make themselves feel important. And the more I sat back and just thought about this, because honestly, guys, like I haven't even heard, like, at least as far as I know, I haven't heard anything from Instacart regarding the strike. And of course they knew about it. But, I'm thinking, okay, typically with Instacart, they'll address issues sometimes. And I think that could be for a number of reasons why they haven't. Because for one thing, they have to be careful what they say. So anything that they say, it can't incriminate them in case they end up going back to court. Okay. Also, they may feel like it might be petty. But if it did affect the bottom line, of course, that might be addressed. I think right now, Instacart's at the point, okay, well, they did a strike, so we need to be careful in our response and how we go forward with this, because anything that we say or do could probably come against us. Now, I'm not saying I'm for Instacart. I'm not saying I'm totally against them, but I'm just looking at it from both sides, because even as a shopper, I know what it's like to be mistreated by this company and be taken advantage of, okay? But I just kind of see where, all right, I haven't heard anything from them, at least as far as I know. I haven't gotten any emails or anything. And I talked to some shoppers and they said that like they haven't gotten any information either. But I'm just kind of feeling like at this point, some of this stuff to me is not as big a deal as what it really may seem. Now, I'm not saying that, sticking up for your rights and trying to bring change is a bad thing or you shouldn't do it. But I kind of feel like if you're trying to make this company like Instacart and some of the other ones, like if you're trying to make this company like your main source of income, and it has been for a period of time, then I can understand that. But I think that how I feel kind of like, all right, what were the results of the strike? Did it bring any change? Is anything changing? I think that Instacart is slowly starting to make change with some stuff, and they have. But at the same time, I think it's a good thing when people do stand up and fight for what is right and say something. But on the flip side to that, I just see a lot of people who are starting a whole bunch of groups and starting a whole bunch of drama and trying to get people to follow them instead of just letting people enjoy the moment and say how they feel or express their interests or express their disgruntles with the company. Now, I know for me personally, I have a group and I'm in there often, but I just kind of feel like at this point in my life, it's really not going to be a situation in my life that's going to bring me forward into anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really not that deep for me anymore. And I think that initially when you first get started with companies like this, and especially when they launch in the area, it seems pretty good for a while. But you have to also take the good with the bad sometimes with these app-based gigs. And, I could still get on there. And even though, of course, because I haven't worked in 3 weeks, I can't get early access. And I haven't really thought that much about it because it's like, whatever. And so I can do other stuff. I mean, I can make ends meet. And so I just don't feel like this stuff with Instacart should be people's main focus. Now, I can't tell people what to do, what to say, what to think. However, I think a lot of this stuff is just a big distraction. And I had to think about some stuff for myself because now I'm seeing like it's become like a battle of, it's like a battle of the groups, and people are starting to have all these different groups, and not because, I'm not saying like they don't start them because they don't want to support people, because it's for support, because some people don't get the support from Instacart that they want. But I think it's a lot about competition. Oh, well, I have 5,000-6,000 people in my group, and then somebody else falls off and has to be, the next person's like, oh yeah, I have 700, 800, 900 people in my group. And then it kind of feeds off of that, and then one person starts another. And so I started the group, the Instacart group, it was earlier this year. And so it was like I wasn't getting the support that I needed, at least I felt that I needed. And there was a young lady that was one of the moderators in this particular group I've been talking about, and she was a hot mess. And so she was just, I'm not going to go into detail because it doesn't matter. But so she kicked me out of the group for no reason, because I exposed something that one of the shoppers were doing that you shouldn't be doing it. And so, but the owner of this group sent me a random message and said, hey, I'm sorry about, how you were treated. We didn't know about it, blah, blah, blah. We want to add you back. And so, I'm in there, but it's just too much cussing in there for me, just too much strife. And I just, that's just me. And so I think sometimes when people are accustomed to drama, and when they're accustomed to a whole bunch of stuff going on, it kind of like fuels the fire. And for me, it's just too much for me. Now, if I want to go in and pop in to see what's going on, if I need some information that's going to apply to what I'm doing, then that's great. But I just kind of feel like sometimes in order to make change, you have to be the change, and that's okay. But on the other side to that, I don't want to start a movement or start something that's supposed to support people, and then it turns into this big social clique, and then leaving other people out while other people suffer. Now, I know in this group that I had, the Instacart Shoppers United group, it's like, okay, I had to take a lot of people out of there, and because I heavily monitor the group, and I'm not about numbers. You got some people that are about numbers. They don't care who they add in there, as long as they have a lot of people in there, just to show that, hey, look, I'm over this, so I have the power. Look at me. I don't care about none of that. And so when I start to see people starting some mess or trying to be funny acting, or if there's something that I'm noticing it's like a bad vibe, I take them out. And I'm not going to sit and scold somebody like they're a child because they're doing something that they know they're not supposed to be doing. And so trust me. And how I know this is because I've taken some people out, and they sent me nasty messages on Facebook, or they sent me nasty emails, which pretty much proved my point as to why I took them out in the first place. And so, but to me, it's really not that deep for me. And most of the time, I don't even respond anyway. Trust me, I've gotten some nasty inboxes, but I'm not going to reply to, most of the time I don't even reply to it. So it's really not that deep for me. But I just kind of feel like, you guys, if you're in a place with Instacart and with these companies where you're just not happy, and you can't pick hours, and they're stealing your money, or they're stealing your tips, or you're being mistreated, either you can stay and fight, or you can just move on. And so I think a lot of people are wasting more time was trying to stick it out and hang in there, versus just trying to, make sure that you're taken care of. Because honestly, these CEOs and these vice presidents and these companies, like people of these companies, they're not really thinking about you. And I hate to say it in that way, but it's true. And so they're about the bottom line, which is money. They're about making sure that their pockets are fat, and making sure that they're making all the money that they can to support not only themselves, but to make the company grow. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, in a negative way, but it's the truth. And so I had to really think about this over the weeks, because over these past 3 weeks, it was a lot of reflection for me. And I think that when you start to make stuff out of an idol, when you start to glorify something, and whether you guys agree with this or not, it is what it is, then it's almost like you're allowing that to take place of what is really important. And I know for me as a believer, I can't allow me to be so focused on Instacart, and then it takes away from my prayer life. And I'm telling you, because that's how it was with me. I wasn't doing as much as I was in my walk in Christ, because I was so focused on Instacart. I was so worried about what they were doing, what they weren't doing, what people are saying, this and this and this. And then it became a huge distraction. And I know the Bible says that the blessings of the Lord make you rich and add no sorrow. So that means that if it's from God, if it's a blessing, you won't have to worry about it. You won't stress about it. You won't be crying every night over it, and not to say that you won't go through any warfare to get it or whatever, but some stuff I just kind of feel like it's just for a season. And I just see like where I think some people are gathered together just to be able to gossip and talk about it and worry about it and just have some type of a social club. And if that's what they want to do, then more power to them. But just to end this, I just want to say, like, the strike wasn't bad. I don't know the results because I haven't heard much from anybody. Hardly anybody's talking about it. I haven't heard much from Instacart about it. But I've been living my life, y'all. Like, I've moved on. And if I decide to get back on a platform, I will. And trust me, there's always hours for me because I check at specific times, and there are hours that I could get, but I just choose not to because I don't want to risk injuring my shoulder even worse. And so not only that, I just feel like I want a peace of mind right now. And I just, at this point, at least for right now, and there's other things that I'm doing in the meantime to make income, but I just kind of feel like, you guys, if you want to stick this thing out, and if you know that Instacart is the company you want to work for a long season, then do that. But honestly, like, if you feel like you're going in circles and you aren't moving forward and it's hard for you to get hours, or you're not making much money, or there's so many different other things that's going on with it, or you're always accused of missing items and just all kind of crap, and you just want to do it no more, then don't. But don't allow other people's agenda to affect what you want to do. Because honestly, like, I'm not saying Instacart should let people go because what they did. I think that'd be messed up if they did that. But I just kind of feel like what other people's agenda is for what they feel they need to be doing, let them do that. And don't get involved in other people's mess. Like, some people want to start some stuff just to start some stuff. And so if you feel deep down you don't want to get involved in it, then don't. And don't feel bad about it. Don't let people make you feel bad about it. And so I looked in the group, and the individual that started the strike made a comment. She made a post and said something like, well, look, you guys, do not send me any more inboxes confessing that you decided not to go on the strike, and sent something and made a cuss word after that. And so my thing is, and I think some people just felt like saying that because they didn't want to feel left out, or didn't want to feel like they would be judged for not participating in the strike. And my thing is, you don't have to get in your group and cuss people out because they just had to let you know. And my thing is, you're the one that started the strike, and I'm not coming down on the individual that did it, but you know what I'm saying? It's just, to me, I think some stuff is just so petty. And the more I've been thinking about this over the past few weeks, I'm like, some stuff is just so petty. And even though I understand what my channel and my YouTube channel is about, I just can't, I think it's okay, at least for me or anybody else, to make videos about things that's going on while you're in the industry, or to make blogs or vlogs about things that's going on in the industry that you should know about. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I kind of feel like after a while, you should get to the point where you're just over it and not let it dictate what you are really called to do in your own life. Because you got some people that just feel good at dictating other people. And so, the more I spend time in prayer and talk to God about some things, the more he's starting to reveal some things to me. And Instacart is not it. This is part of where I'm supposed to go in my journey. But if I stick with the company and do it later on, then that's just what it is. But I just kind of feel like, all right, now we see what Instacart is about. We see that they don't care about us. We see that, all they care about is the bottom line, which is money. We see that they're just using the shoppers for their own, I understand that. But at the same time, if you want to stick it out and try to fight for what is right, do what you want to do. And, I'm not going to judge anybody for that. But I'm going to say this again before I go. Don't let other people's agenda rub off on you if it's going to affect you, if it's going to affect your money, if it's going to affect your family, if it's going to affect your health, whatever. Because sometimes people want to get you aboard to do stuff just to make themselves feel like they're important. I'm not saying that's the case with the strike, but I'm just saying this in general. And sometimes you do have to start things just to make change. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we see a lot of people in the world that had to start a movement to make change, which is a good thing. But like I said, y'all, I know some of you guys weren't even concerned about the strike. You're not focusing on it. You guys are like, look, I'm going to still be on the platform. I'm going to still work my hours, and I'm going to go home and let it be that. It's just nothing wrong with that, because honestly, I didn't participate anyway, because, you know, I hadn't worked in a couple of weeks because of my shoulder. So it really didn't affect me at all. I wasn't really looking at a whole lot of stuff about what was going on with it either. But in a way, I kind of feel like, at least for my own personal life, God has taken me into a different direction in this season. And so this is not going to be my forever. This isn't my always. And so I don't want this to be something that is going to hinder me and distract me from what God has called me to do. And so, you see what I'm saying? This is just me personally. So I'm going to get off of here, and I apologize. It's meant to be like a brief video, but this has been something on my heart that I just need to share with y'all. And so this isn't like to bash anybody or come down on anybody, but this is just the way that it is. And so, but, you know, for those of you guys who decided to stick it out, if you guys were participating in the strike, then great. If you guys didn't, that's okay too. And so just do what's best for you. And, you know, and no one was condoning anybody for doing it or not doing it. It's just do what's best for you. And I think that at the end of the day, if the strike made a difference, then you will start to see change. Then you guys will see change. I'm sure Instacart, I'm sure the CEO may have thought about it, because the worst thing you can do is go to the media about something, about what a company's doing. The media, companies hate to go, like when people go to the media, because it makes them look bad. And so, but at the same time, this is not something that I'm really focused on. I'm worried about, because Instacart is not my purpose, you know. And so it helped me for a season. And if I do decide to come back and get on the platform and work, then I'll do it. But otherwise, I'm just, you know, moving forward in my life and focusing on what God has called me to do. And I pray that all of you guys will do the same. So God bless y'all. Peace.